Welcome to another episode of Industrial Amputation, where you can always expect the unexpected. My favorite episodes are the ones where we have close friends on, and today I have that distinguished pleasure. Our guest has an incredible band called CHANT, has played drums for such renowned acts as the Skate Nigs, Evil Mothers, Pigface, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, Frontline Assembly, and is fresh off the Pig Tour. He's also part of a horror theme group called Blood Over Texas, which is having their annual Horror for the Holidays event December 7th and 8th in Austin, Texas at Palmer Events Center. I'm enthralled to introduce my dear friend and resident Texan onto our show. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined today by Mr. Bradley Bills. Bradley,
Hey Joey, and hey everyone, how you doing?
great man. Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thanks for inviting me. We've talked about this for a couple of times, haven't we? I'm glad can finally have a chance to do it.
Well, the time is right. So let's jump right in, and I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully this works. So, this right here. Blood Over Texas. Please tell us about what Blood Over Texas is.
Yeah, so this is the creation of Bunny Voodoo, my love and significant other. Um, Bunny Voodoo started Blood Over Texas. Really, it was meant to be a kind of a horror meetup group about, I think, 12 years ago, so that horror fans in Austin and in Texas in general could, find out what was going on in Austin, besides just Halloween stuff, but year round, any
Mhm.
horror events, any film premieres. And it turned into really an events promotion company. She runs several horror themed events in Austin a year. One of them is Slash Dance, which is an 80s themed dance party they host at Elysium. Fright Gallery, which you were kind enough to come. Fright Gallery is an all horror artist art gallery that she um, curates and hand selects each one of the artists to give them a chance to show some of the art that maybe a traditional art gallery might not show. And there's multimedia events that happen, like live music, playing to film scores and things of that nature. And then her what's turned out to be the flagship Blood Over Texas event every year is Horror for the Holidays. And Bunny's concept of that was, you know, uh, I want to create a all dark art vendor market that our friends that at that time it was, Bloody Rose and Glass Coffin, Secret October, and all of the other independent artists. I want to have it where they can display what they create, what they make, and anybody that loves Halloween and Christmas can come together and shop for their spooky friends. And there's an evil Santa photo booth. In more recent years, well, it's really going on the seventh or eighth year. We've started a Krampus parade. We added drums to it about 5 years ago. I lead the drum line for that. So it's really fun for me to get to play drums in the Krampus parade. We partner with Bat City, and really House of Torment has become a huge partner of ours and are actually sponsoring certain features this year. Michael Faust and his team at House of Torment have really partnered and bring all their creatures out and help with the Krampus parade. So Horror for the Holidays went from the Spider House, if you remember Spider House, ballroom. I think maybe there were 30 vendors that year.
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago. It moved to Come and Take It Live because it got too big for Spider House. Then it moved to Travis County Expo Center because it got too big for Come and Take It Live. And now we're at the Palmer Event Center. I help with, I'm a jack of all trades. I help with everything I can, from stage managing to all the different stations. We also do a very important silent auction where all of the artists and vendors at Horror for the Holidays donate usually one or two pieces of their merchandise or their items. And a really good friend of ours, Ashley, runs that silent auction so people can bid on that and raise money for Safe Austin, which is a very important organization here in Austin that gives shelter to families, sometimes entire families, when they need to get safe from abusive situations. And it's a really wonderful cause, and everybody pitches in, and we keep topping what we raise for them every year. So that's about Blood Over Texas, and I can't take any credit for it really. It's my significant other, my partner, Bunny's, creation, and it's just grown so much. I'm really proud of her, and it's fun to be a part of. So
Awesome, man. Well, so
yeah,
yeah, it's an amazing event and that you guys put on. And I'm gonna go ahead and share some photos that you sent me, and maybe you can talk a little bit more about them. All right, let's keep going with that one. So here we go.
yep, that's that. And then this is the one of the things, right? This is the 10th annual this year for Horror for the Holidays, so it's a big milestone. Like you said, it's this coming when this airs, it'll be this coming next weekend, right? December 7th and 8th, um, at Palmer Event Center. You can go to bloodovertexas.com or even horrorfortheholidays.com, but bloodovertexas.com you can go and buy advanced tickets, which gets you in a lot quicker. Um, but and I should note, I can't remember which slides I sent you, Joey, but I should note that there are one ticket. I think they're $15. Get you in the entire weekend, so you can go both days.
Mhm.
You can go Saturday only, Sunday only, or just go both days. Because Saturday there's some certain performers and events that happen only on Saturday, like the House of Torment elf races, which we're going to have a elf relay race. There we go. And then, of course, Sunday is the iconic Krampus parade. There's a shot from last year. That is actually me right up front in the full-on Krampi gear. Uh, got my buddy Spia right behind me from In a Darkened Room. Great drummer, great friend of mine. Lisa Haar from Lucid Dementia's playing drums in this. James from Mr. Lewis and Funeral 5, drummer. And Sean, who's now playing in the Skate Nigs, is drumming. So we've got a whole host of drummers from Austin that are playing in the Krampus Parade. And we've got celebrities coming. Uh, David, the actor that plays in the Terrifier movies, the famous Art the Clown, right? He's
Mhm.
going to be there. 80s Scream Queen icon Linnea Quigley is going to be there, all weekend, Saturday and Sunday as well. And then Alan Troutman, who played Tarman in Return of the Living Dead, who also worked in way more productions than people realize because he worked for the Jim Henson Company. And we'd met him once before. Really happy to have him here in Austin, too. He's full of some great stories of working for that company. And of course, uh, the way he acted Tarman out in Return of the Living Dead, which is just one of the biggest horror icon moments, right? So very fun.
Cool, cool.
Yeah,
Really excited to be able to experience that this year, so it's going to be awesome. Very happy.
it's so cool. I'm so excited.
Whenever I see you out, you're always wearing that really cool skull necklace. Can you tell me the significance behind that?
Oh yeah, I've had this for at least 15 years, and I've worn it everywhere for every tour I've played on since maybe 2011 when I got it. Uh, my wife at the time, my ex-wife Olivia, got it for me. I think she was on a trip with some friends in Mexico and picked it up for me as a gift and brought it back to me. I'd love to say it's like something cool like bone or something, but I think
Yeah.
it's just carved in wood. And I've had it, yeah, forever. And it's just, something special to me that I always wear.
Cool. Very, very nice. I always enjoy that and I always notice it. So transitioning into this, you've played drums for a lot of bands live. Most recently, you just finished a lengthy run playing drums for the tour at Pig and with Unicode Machine, which was, an outstanding show. My personal favorite show of the year, honestly. Can you give us a run through of the preparation you did for this tour and to rehearsals in Chicago?
A little bit, yeah. I first of all, thanks for the kind words about the show.
Oh, sure.
Um, I've been a fan of Raymond's music and of Pig for a while as well. So get all these bands that you listed off, getting to play with them is always a thrill for me. Um, for me personally, I like to prep early, and I learn. I always try to explain it. I learn the whole entire song, not the drum part. Um, like whether you're a musician or not, if I mention Master of Puppets to you, right? Everybody knows Master of Puppets by Metallica, and whether they play an instrument, you can play it in your head like a tape recorder. You know that whole song, right? And that's how I learned songs. I learned them from beginning to end, all the parts. Don't know how to play guitar, but I learned the guitar parts. So if I get lost in the song and I know where something is, I know where it is. And then I learned the drum parts. So I spend a lot of time with the music. This was a challenge because my friend Raymond likes to throw, and I at least had some training because Pigface kind of approaches these type of tours the same way. I like to throw a bunch of songs out there
Hmm.
that we may or may not play. And the idea is learn them and we'll go in and play all 36 Pig songs, in the course of a week and see which ones really truly sound the best.
Hmm.
Um, so I spent the summer learning about 36 Pig songs. Some of them obviously I knew, right? And I also stumbled across this when I got a chance to play with My Life with the Thrillco Cult. I found that the songs that I knew as a fan were harder for me to learn than the ones that maybe like Raymond's songs off Red Room, right? Or even some of the new ones off the latest EP. I don't have any preconceived notion about those, right? I haven't heard them before either, just like new fans haven't heard them. So there's nothing to get in the way. But when I go to learn Swine and Roses or, Juke Joint Jezebel, I've got 20 years of hearing it or different versions of it that my muscle memory as a drummer wants to do. And I found I have to unlearn because it's not really how the track goes in that version. So that was kind of funny that I experienced that. But I did a lot of homework before I ever flew to Chicago, and we had about 5 or 6 days, very long 10-hour days playing in the studio, going through all the songs, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't, fine tuning things, seeing what track listing worked. I think Raymond had a general idea, knew what he wanted to open with. He knew, well, these 10 were definitely going to play. These 10 were probably going to play. And then let's see about these others, what we're going to do. And it kind of formed from there. Um, and luckily, just I was in pretty good shape so I could handle the drumming for 8 hours a day or whatnot, because there was some really long days, but it was fun.
What were some of the highlights of the tour for you?
I've been asked that already. And I'm fresh off of it, right? I've only been home for about a week and a half, and I went straight back to work.
Hmm.
But it's a little bit of a blur. But obviously, I love Chicago. I have a strong connection to Chicago. It's where I recorded the first Chant record at Martin's studio, which is now the museum, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I have a lot of friends there that I've made over the years. Didn't see very many of them that first week because I was locked in a practice room. But Cold Waves is always very special in Chicago. Jason Novik does such a great job. I've had the fortune of playing, I think, 7 or 8 out of the however many there's been because of all the bands I've played with. I've happened to, get to play the Cold Wave Chicago show. So because of that, that makes that a special one. I know the staff there. I know the people that work the event, and to do the hospitality, Gene, and I got to see my old friend Gabe Shaw and just everybody, getting to see everybody in Chicago. So that was obviously a highlight. Uh, Another really funny enough special moment was for some reason the Austin show. Maybe I'm biased because it's my hometown show, but
Sure.
the energy that night was really
I was
intense.
there, man. It was
It
incredible.
Yeah, it was really fun, wasn't it? And so Austin was pretty special to me. I thought it was a really good show. Um, um, and there were some other really neat surprises. When we were in New York at Chris Smack's Stimulate show, we had to actually get out of the venue very quickly, but he had an upstairs, because it was his, I think, 15th anniversary that he was celebrating. And
Mhm.
I'm up there, and he wanted to buy me a drink, and we were visiting, and I went up there to meet a few people, and I turn around, and the person DJing is Pepper from Thrillco Cult,
Oh,
And
wow.
I hadn't seen her since Chant opened up for Thrill Kill in 2009. And when she was happened to be singing on that tour with them. And I mean, I turned right around and the booth was right there. And, we got to hug and catch up. Um, and I hadn't seen her in so long. So there's moments like that are really special. Um, and Smalls in Detroit, they always make you feel like home. And my longtime childhood friend that I met on the playground when I was 11 lives in Detroit. He's
Nice.
known me 40 something years. He has lived to tell all the tales, and he came to the show, so it was good to see him. And yeah, yeah, really good stuff. I mean, and every night playing for Unit Code Machine and for Pig was a real treat. It was just really great. Uh, good stuff.
That's awesome, man. Well, aside from Chant and Pigface, can you go through some of the bands you've played with and provide any anecdotes that may just pop into your head?
Sure. I think through Chant in a way did what it was meant to do. It started out as a weird project,
Mhm.
bringing tribal drumming that I liked from like, the Creatures or Crash Worship
Sure.
mixed with my favorite industrial. Um, and a little bit of techno too. So it was real weird in the beginning, but because I was doing that and it was overindulgent in drumming, as I got to open up for Thrill Kill or open up and for Pigface, they saw what I could do as a drummer. And I think the first time I played outside of Chant, once I had started Chant, well, I think Curse and I really connected. This was when he still lived in Tampa, by the way, before he moved back to the Austin area.
Mhm.
And Curse asked me to play in Evil Mothers for their reunion. They did about 3 or 4 reunion shows in 2011. I can't believe it was that long ago. And asked if I would do the metallic percussion in that, which I don't do too much anymore. It's really hard on the limbs, banging away with mallets on drums. But that was, I remember, really special to me to get to be a part of that, because it's kind of this. I did this so people could see what I can do as a drummer, and instead of me being in a bunch of regular bands where I'm just the drummer and it breaks up and I got to start all over, Chant was to take my own destiny into my own hands, but also that hopefully other more serious bands that have made a career out of it might invite me to. So Evil Mothers was really special because of that. And then Decrypts, I think, came right after Chant did the tours with KMFDM. Jurgen, of course, also lives here in Austin.
Mhm.
So when he asked me to play for them in Europe, and he was even willing to bring Chant over to open up for because he was a fan.
Huge deal.
Um, he was really interested in not just my drumming, but a light show we had put together for Chant, and could I help Decrypts with that? I think that was a lesson in, the more you can do in the realm of touring, not just being a good musician, but know how to program lights or know how to run sound
Mhm.
or just be all around helpful, and be willing to expand what you're doing on tour than just, I'm just playing drums. I don't do anything else.
Mhm.
I think really helped. And the fact that Jurgen did that and gave us a chance to get in front of that audience, that was always really special as well. And I could go down the list, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Thrill Kill was special because they're just one of my favorite Wax Trax bands, and
Mhm.
Justin was Justin Bennett, was double booked. I think he was double booked playing for Ogre, um, and was actually on tour with KMFDM. And a really cool thing about that was when Marston asked me and Frankie asked me to play for them, one of the first people I heard from when it got confirmed was Justin. He messaged me and said, "Hey, I hear you're going to be filling in for me when Thrill Kill does that first leg of the tour. You're going to have so much fun. There's so much fun. Their music's so fun to play. It's like dancing. You're going to have so much fun." So it was a really cool thing that he called to congratulate me and just say, "Hey, you're going to have a great time." There's no weirdness at all.
Mhm.
And I think when I got to play for Pig, I heard from a lot of people, but Galen messaged me and said, "Hey, you're gonna have so much fun." So that's kind of one of the things I like about being a drummer, is that all these drummers, we all know each other. John Siren and me and Galen and Justin, and we all just love playing drums. There's no there's no weirdness like with all these guitar players, no
Oh
ego, huh?
yeah, the ego. There's a bunch of
I'm just I
camaraderie
don't
with this.
I'm just kidding about the guitar players. I don't know, but it's fun. So yeah, it's been good.
Well, good, man. You know, you brought a awesome video clip with us. You provided me. Can you tell about what I'm about to play for our audience? A little bit of background.
Oh yeah, so I love Levi very much. I
Real, Levi.
when Chant got to now I'd met him um just at Thrill Kill shows,
Hmm.
maybe even before Chant existed. Um, and when I met him, he was always very friendly and very magnetic and personality and everything. And when Chant got to open up for Pigface in 2005, Chant was really new. I think I'd only been around a year and a half,
Okay,
and big Pigface fan because Martin is one of my favorite drummers. The
absolutely.
way he and Bill approached the whole ministry thing is how I found out about industrial and how I found out about Pigface. And I found out that a friend of mine grew up with Curse, and he said, I could try to get you to open up for Pigface at Elysium, when they come through. And I'll see. I grew up with Kirsch, I know him, so I'll see if he can call. And I've told this story before, even to Kirsch, because at the time I didn't know him at all, and this was just so, whoa, I'm going, I want a chance to work with any of these people, and nobody knew who I was, And Kirsch, I remember I was in some rental house, and Kirsch called me on the phone and said, "Well, Raleigh said that you're in this really cool new project, and you're drawing well in Austin." He said, "You'd be great to open up, but I got to tell you, I talked to Martin, and there's already three bands on this tour package. There's really not any room. I mean,
Mhm.
you'd have to like play on the floor of Elysium because you're not going to fit on the stage." And I said, "Oh well, I've done shows on the floor of Elysium. I'll play on the floor." And I think he was shocked to hear me say that. Um, so he said he hung up. I think he called Martin back, and then he calls me again. He goes, "Well, there's just not enough time, so the doors open up at 8, and you'd have to play like a 20-minute set and go on at 8 when nobody's in the club. You just have to play to an empty club. People would be coming in, but that's the only time you can." And I just said, "Yeah, I'll do it." He goes, "Yeah." I think he was kind of shocked I said yes to that, And then he called me back a third time with some other thing, you'd only be able to do it if. And I said, "Sure, why? I'll do that. There are only two channels on the board. I'll find a way to make it work," whatever it was. So, I got to open up for Pigface, but I just had to do it right as the doors open. I only played for maybe 18 minutes, but because I kept saying yes, Charles Martin and Curse came in and watched me because they're like, "Who's this guy that's willing to do this?" I don't know why, but they did, and it was really cool. And of course, they invited me up on stage, which they do so many people. But for me, at that moment in time, um, it was really, special because I was getting to come up there and play drums with them at the end of the show. So that night, it was a very important night to me, and we had a Sony camera, and we shot. I won't show you any part of the probably horrible chant show that I did in 2005 because I was still trying to figure out what I was doing. Um, but it was fun, and we shot. I think I have almost all of that pig face show from the side of the stage with this little Sony camera, and I digitized it years ago, and we were, going to maybe do something with it for one of Martin's events, and I don't think it ever got shown. So, since this is, a podcast for Charles, and I happen to be on the side of the stage Charles is at, I just did some quick edits of some of the key songs where he's right up there. And so I just thought it'd be fun to show that. So that was a long story, but it's what led up to me having this video footage. And, just kind of wanted to share how I even got to open up for Pigface almost 20 years ago, and thought it'd be fun. So,
It's about to be Charles' birthday. It's either tomorrow or Monday, so he'll really appreciate this. Happy birthday, Charles.
Hey, happy birthday, Charles.
Let me just make sure I can get this going.
Cool.
Sorry, one sec. Um, do you see that or is it not showing? Oh, it's probably not showing. Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Still getting used to the new interface with Zoom. So let's do that. Can you see that? Wait, hold on a second. Let me.
Yeah, I see your Google browser.
You see my browser?
Yeah.
You don't see. Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on a second. Let me try this again. I apologize, guys. They changed the interface and it's a little bit difficult with them doing that. So share. Here it is. How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is about 2.5 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and just play the whole thing. It's worth it.
I don't think the audio's coming through.
Did not?
Yeah, no, it's kind of choppy. It's not playing the video smooth.
I'm sorry. We'll just have to blame Zoom on that. But there's Wendy, I remember.
Yeah. There's Esh,
Yeah.
Anna, Christoph way in the back.
There's Curse. Charles rocking it out.
The sound on this video is surprisingly clear too, as well.
Yeah,
Well, we'll have to maybe when this gets broadcast, I'll have to find a way to throw it up on YouTube so
for sure. I'll
your
definitely
viewers
share it on our page.
can listen to it. There's Enigma. They must be playing Auto Hag right now.
Wow, the energy is amazing.
Oh, I you've got. I hope that people can see this clip because it you can really hear Charles's playing. And he never really turns around and looks at Martin, but he knows exactly where he's going to hit. It's
No,
crazy.
it's like second nature for him. He's always stuck out to me whenever he's performed live with anytime I've seen him.
So there's Fildo right there, man. That's Fildo crawling up on stage.
Oh my gosh. The world is so small.
Yeah, which I knew Fildo back then, but not really well. And then there's me, young me. I think Lacey's up there somewhere. And so if you freeze it, I don't know if you can,
Mhm.
but have you? Hopefully, my voice is still recording.
Yeah, it is.
You see that meme where Trent Reznor's looking at Paul Barker, and it's
Yes, I
like
have.
find somebody that looks at you the way Trent looks at Paul Barker. You should have seen me gazing at Curse, man. It's fucking hilarious. I was so happy to be up there, and I froze that at one point and showed that to him, and we had a good laugh about that because we know each other so well now. But that's this is kind of a cool video in time. I mean, I'm in it, but I mean, it captures when I finally did get to play in Pigface on the 2019 tour. It captures the magic of Martin being so inclusive with this project and letting people up there and not even knowing what might happen, you know, but he has the courage just to do that and make it special for people. And I think that's why Pigface is one of the reasons why it's so special is that happens for someone like me every other night. You know, they're playing a live show. It's really a cool thing.
Well, is it difficult to play with multiple drummers, like say Martin Atkins or Danny Carey from Tool?
I think when you're playing with really good drummers like that, it's not as bad, right? It's not as hard because we're really locked in.
Mhm.
I think the only challenge I had with the pig face, uh, when I'm being honest, is that I was getting used to hey, we're going to play these 25 songs but Dive Bomber might have an extra 5, 6 bars than I knew we were going to play,
Hmm.
or we're playing Fuck It Up and Martin's feeling it. It may go longer than we ever rehearsed. So you're kind of playing by the seat of your pants, playing with somebody as solid as him, or Danny, that just shows up and plays the whole fucking set. That's playing together. I think came pretty natural, but it's the knowing. Okay, are we going to do an extra 2 bars here? Do I stop? You know, am I trying not to stomp all over what Martin's trying to do? But though that's what makes it fun. So I wouldn't say it was difficult as much as it was just, you know, a little bit of a seat of the pants challenge, but it made it really exciting. So that was my experience. Aside from just having a fucking great time, you know, playing drums with some of my favorite drummers, that was kind of my experience on that tour.
So you would do it again, I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's if asked, of course I would do it again. I think I was talking to Raymond. We were just having fun talking about what's next, and I was telling them what could happen in 2025, and a lot of it really depends on time. Time is the craziest thing, right? It's how do you figure it out? When we finished the Pig tour, you know, I I don't pretend like I do this for a living. I mean, like many people, I managed to keep a full time job throughout this whole 20-year adventure,
Hmm.
and I cram everything in so I can do these amazing experiences with these tours. And we played in Cleveland, the last show of the Pig tour, on Sunday night. I think it was midnight probably when we finished the encore. I think it was probably 2 a.m. by the time we had broken down all the gear. It was packed up, maybe 3 by the time we checked into the hotel. And my flight was at 7 a.m. So I had to be at the airport at 5 a.m. to fly back to Austin to work Monday. So less than 10 hours of being on stage in Cleveland, I was at work. So and I have a weird, the DeCrooks, I played the second tour I did with them. We played Mariluna, the
Hmm.
main stage, in front of 30,000 people, the only huge
Wow.
big concert I've got to do. And I think that was on a Saturday. And I flew back on a Sunday, and I was at work on Monday. And getting a message from him saying, "Hey, we were on German national TV. Here's a clip of you playing." And I'm sitting there at work going, wow, I was doing this less than 48 hours ago. So it's a weird life. But if I can squeeze it in, I don't know what Pigface plans are, and I don't know if there's so many options of the way Martin can configure that. I don't know. You'll have to have him on. You probably have had him on, but you should ask him that.
Been on
Um,
twice. I think he wants to come on back on again. He enjoys
yeah,
it.
good, good. I do, in my gut, think that Pigface fans will get to experience it again, because I think um, it's something that I know Martin still has in him. I saw him briefly in Chicago, and I mean he's just a monster drummer, and I think he's going to do it again. So
Perfect.
yeah,
Well, so your band Chant is amazing, man, and especially live. I've never seen a drummer perform as a lead singer. What inspired you to take that route with your band?
thank you. I admit the singing was just out of necessity. Chant was instrumental when it first started.
Hmm.
It was very experimental. And while people were kind of enthralled at how tribal it was, even when I would tried adding some drummers early on, I was going for this really chaotic crash worship feel. And I don't know if you ever were lucky enough to see a crash worship
No,
live show.
definitely not.
You can kind of find them on YouTube. It's this insane pagan ritual, theatrical performance, very chaotic. A lot of smoke and fire. And, when they were done at the end of the night, the club would try to turn on the lights, they would just march out and stop traffic in the street. Just chaos. And, at least Chant was like that on a 1 or 2 man, role at the beginning. But even then, because I couldn't create that, I didn't go down the path of getting eight or nine theater troupe type people. And I didn't want to copy what Crash Worship had done. I just love that energy. Um, it just, early chant shows, like I'm a drummer and I love drumming, but even I can't sit and watch a 45-minute drum solo. And it just felt too much like a drum solo. So that's when I tried to start crafting more songs with lyrics. And I did try out a few singers. Again, this has been like 2004, 2005. And it became apparent that if it was going to be my project, it needed to be my voice. And I still don't think of myself as a singer. I've learned how to use my voice for what I want to do and say with chant. I've tried to become a better singer. Um, but I think, with learning, how to use your voice and still hopefully communicate the emotion you want to communicate, I think that can still be pretty honest and hopefully it reaches people. I do think that chant still to this day connects with people more as a live show than on record. I accept that. The goal is to find a way to capture the record with as much intensity as the live show. But maybe that'll happen. But yeah, that's really how the lead singing plus playing drums. I just didn't want to give up playing drums. I love playing drums too much. So that's really how I ended up doing both with that particular project. Yeah.
Well, I think you pull it off flawlessly. I saw your final show at Elysium and I was completely blown away. So I think you do a great job, Bradley.
Well, thank you. It turned out to be something pretty unique. So, I wasn't planning on that, but I think that's part of what's fun about music and art too. Sometimes if you don't think about it too much and you just go for it, I always joke that whatever I'm doing, I'm always just a little too deep in the water where I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Um, and I think that's a good thing because then when I record a record or get a synth line going with drumming, it hopefully will sound like something not like every other, synth band. It'll sound something a little different, mainly because the fact that I'm doing something I haven't done before, or I don't know exactly what I'm doing.
I was listening to your album Hydra from 2020 last night, and it's extremely relevant. The lyrics are especially poignant. Was there ever any hesitation about making your music political?
No, there wasn't. And I think I still don't think of Chant as a political band, like a band like Rage Against the Machine that
Sure,
really
sure.
oh really has a credo and focus with
Mhm.
what they're trying to do as a band, and they do it very well, in my opinion. But I think I've always called chant as observational lyrics. So, the first record, I was trying to learn how to write songs, but the lyrics that were coming out was me observing what do I want to write about and what divides us, relationships that divide us. The opening song, Point and Click, is still also very relevant today with the gun debate.
Oh,
People
yes.
decided on the gun debate. And I have a song about that I still play in my live show today because it's still relevant and still fun to play. Um, and then the second album was all about words and how a single word can mean so much. So that album, every song title on that album, except for the title track, is a single word title. And then as I got into the third and fourth record and got into Hydra, I was just observing what was going on in our politics. That was always so much in my face from 2012 on up into 2016, 2017, when I started probably writing lyrics,
Mhm.
which became the record in 2020. And it's not so much, it was actually before Trump was on the horizon when I was writing some of that. But it was just the observation of this long term plan of extremists from either side, but particularly the right, having a 30-year plan of how they're going to infiltrate and use religion to take back in, power into the government, which I'm, an advocate against the separation of church and state. I think that's
Great.
one of the most logical and reasonable things that you know, was, written into our Constitution. Um, but there are other people that don't believe that clearly. So I think it is very relevant today. And after the election this past month, I've had a lot of people online messaging me, listening to President God, listening to the whole album Hydra, which, ended up being a story of a demagogue coming to power, but a particular person, you know, not accepting that government was going to take hold forever, and just standing up to them and becoming an accidental martyr. It's very fictitious, but it just kind of was something that I wrote that album faster than I ever wrote any other Chant album. I wrote it in less than 6 months. I've been taking notes and stuff, but yeah, I I don't want to be political. It's not my goal. I know it's a long-winded answer, but I think if an artist or a band wants to, it's their voice and they should be able to do what they want. I know a lot of fans like, don't get political, stay out of it. You're an artist. I mean, to me, they're great. Rock and roll is meant to disrupt or make you think, potentially even make you feel uncomfortable. So
Mhm.
even if you don't agree with the art coming out, it can be a good listen. But so if I end up creating something like that again, great. If I don't, I don't know what I've been observing lately. I've been working so much, but I do hope I can get some time on my own and maybe think about writing some new songs.
Is there a track or an album you can definitively say this is something I'm most proud of?
Not really. I mean, it's always your latest stuff, right? So
Mhm.
probably Hydra is my favorite record because it's the most recent. But it's actually, I can't believe it's almost 4 years old now. I released it right at the tail end of 2020. Um, so when I start writing something new, I'll go. I haven't listened to the Hydra record in a while, but if I do, I'll go back and go, why did I do it that way? I should have done it this way.
Mhm.
Um, so, but I'd say that I was really proud of what I accomplished with that record. If people listening to this haven't heard it, I really hope they'll stop by Bandcamp and give it a listen all the way through. I will say I'm old school. I write with an album in mind. So I think some songs stand on its own, but I like it when somebody hits start and listens to the whole album all the way through.
Same
And
way.
I hope they take the time to do that, that they have some kind of, you know, experience through the whole thing. I think my songs are meant to be listened to in that order as a whole. And then you can look at the whole album and see what you think about it. That's my goal anyway.
I guess the burning question for all us Chant fans is, what does the future hold for 2025?
I've been asked that a lot. Live Chant grew to be about 3 members and then back down to two. A lot of it had to do with availability of the people I had involved with. But Alvin Melvin is probably the longest running live member of Chant. And unless it's for like a fundraiser or a very important event, I really don't like doing Chant shows as a one-man band anymore. I don't envision the best live Chant experience that way. So I did see Alvin. He lives in Ohio now, and he stopped to the last Pig show, and we got to chat and catch up. Um, and hypothetically, if I was to do live shows again, he's on board again if we can make the time work. So for as far as playing live, we discussed it. We both miss it. We would like to do it again. So we'll see. Um, Maybe 2025 we could squeeze in some shows. I think the joke is as long as my favorite artists quit asking me to play drums for them, then maybe I'll have time to do some Chant stuff. But the plan overall is definitely play live again in the future. I still have some live performances in me as Chant. It will involve Alvin if he's available. If not, I'll be patient and wait till he's available. And I've written quite a bit of music over the last year and a half. Most of it's been more soundtrack, instrumental synth kind of John Carpenter kind of stuff. You saw the piece I did for the 30-minute cut of Return of the
Yeah,
Living
I was going
Dead
to ask about that,
for
but walked
Texas
over.
Friday. Some of that could turn into chant music. I don't know. But I think I'm hoping I can get some writing done in 2025, and there will be another chant record at some point. Just not sure if it'll happen as quickly as 2025, because if I do something, it's got to be better than what I've done before. I've got to shoot really high. So we'll see.
Well, man, that definitely gives us all something to look forward to. Of
Thanks.
course. Bradley, I want to thank you for kicking it with me today. I always love our talks.
I appreciate you having me on. One, it's that's the funny thing, Joey, right? We could have just met halfway around town and had coffee together, but this is fun too, to talk in this environment. And hopefully, anybody that's paying attention to the podcast will like some of the stories. And we're all, fans of Charles. That was the genesis of this podcast, and I hope he gets a kick out of it watching it. And if when he watches it, Charles, I love you. I miss you. Love to you and Danny. I got your text the other day. I'll write you back soon, and probably talk to you on your birthday. And thanks for having me, Joey. And I want to tell you too. I finally got to meet Joe in person in Seattle. He came to the Seattle show. I know he's got at this taping. He's got a show tonight or something, right?
The band, I think Benign Affliction is playing, and he just joined it, and it's their first show tonight, or he'd be here right here with me. But he's like,
Uh,
it's my first show. Please apologize, and I want to be there with you, but I'm proud
uh,
of him for doing this, and he's playing keyboards, and you know, he's doing
I'm
it.
sure.
So
I'm sure he's going to kill it. That's awesome.
I know he will. That's
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so Blood Over Texas Annual Horror for the Holidays event will be at Palmer Event Center in Austin, December 7th and 8th. You can buy tickets at bloodovertexas.com. Please check out Bradley's amazing band Chant at chantproject.com or visit his page on Bandcamp. I promise you will not be disappointed. We've reached the end of another show. This episode is dedicated to our friends Jason Lupo and Charles Levi, who make the world a better place by simply existing. Holidays can be difficult for some people for a multitude of reasons. You never know about the silent battles someone may be going through. Hug your family, friends, and friends that are family. Let them know what they mean to you because tomorrow is never promised. Thank you for watching, and until next time.